When I started planning this podcast, I remembered that ever since I was a kid, it was always my dream to have my own pirate radio show. When I started planning this podcast, I remembered that ever since I was a kid, it was always my dream. I could hear myself twice. Pirate radio show. I could hear myself twice. Okay, technical difficulties straight off the bat. Okay, let's get into it.
He's the Colonel Cardiff, I'm the only one Cardiff City podcast. Fat and bald, and he likes football. He runs the only one Cardiff for, and he rides a bike. Colonel Cardiff.
A message from Malarkey's on tenterhooks. Yes, it's the first only one Cardiff City live podcast. Welcome, come in. Take your shoes off and one sock. You know the rules. I'm Colonel Cardiffy, and I don't drink very often, but I am having a few beers this evening on account of this podcast being the most stressful thing I've ever had to set up while still doing my normal work the last couple of days. If you're having a drink, let us know in the podcast thread on the forum. In fact, just come in and say anything you like in there. Maybe I'll read it out. Maybe you'll get banned for life. It's a gamble. These are the risks. Okay, so what's been happening on the forum this week? Let's see. We've had no game for a while, but plenty of Brexit chat, enough to make you want to gouge your eyes out and stuff them in your ears. Let's have a look at this. We've had no game for a while, but plenty of Brexit chat. Theresa May lost another vote again today. Christ knows what that's about. There's a thread here. Dr. Lecter needs a shower. Theresa May lost another vote again today. Christ knows what that's about. This week Lecter's dropped the C-bomb a record 34 times. I hope everything's alright at home, mate. Stanton, he's been on his usual crusade against fat people. It's nice he's giving Facebook users and tattoo havers a break this week. A relatively new poster called Stanty's Tattoos is going for the posting record this week, I think. Very sweary posts they had to. Fulham sold out, Burnley sold out, massive games. Let's just refresh this and see if anybody's saying anything about the podcast. Sold out Wanker. Can you all hear me? Would be nice to know. Post and poster of the week has to go to Nugent for that video he made of a toothless Spaniard as a response to his ongoing beef with Joe City. Oh, it's like Tupac and Biggie all over again. I'm not going to play Nugent's video now because people getting the audio-only version of this podcast will just have 3 minutes of Spanish and wheezy laughter to enjoy, but have a look if you haven't seen it already. I'm going to just embed that video into the podcast thread. Have a look if you haven't seen it. Bloody hell, the golden age of broadcasting is well and truly over. I'll never catch Savile starting the show 5 minutes. Was I 5 minutes late? Turn your sound off, there's an echo. Oh god. Can you all hear me? No. Are you serious? Savile starting the show 5 minutes. Was I 5 minutes late? Turn your sound off, there's an echo. Oh god. Can you all hear me? No. Are you serious? Savile starting the show 5 minutes. Was I 5 minutes late? Turn your sound off, there's an echo. Well, that's bad news if you can't hear me. No. Are you serious? Can now. Notice you also have a YouTube live chat, so keep looking at that. Oh yeah, okay then. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay, I'm just going to say something in the YouTube live chat. Can you hear me? There we go. Oh, yeah, okay. Teresa's 5-star. Oh, wow. Mate, you're still echoing. Okay, I'm just going to say something in the YouTube live chat. Am I really? Can you hear me? So I don't even know how to fix that at this stage. Okay, let's have a quick look. Yes, we are serious. So I don't even know how to fix that at this stage. Okay. Right, I got some people saying they can't hear me and some people saying they can. Which is, you know... Right, I got some people saying they can't hear me and some terrible start to a live podcast. Yes, we are serious. Which is, you know... Right, I got some people saying I'm going to plough on regardless. Yeah, bit of an echo. God, I don't know what to do. Some people saying they can hear me, some people saying they can't, some people saying they get an echo. Yeah, bit of an echo. What a nightmare. I tell you what, in the meantime, let's have a quick look at the Pick'em standings. Let's see. Pick'em. I tell you what, in the meantime, let's have a quick look at the Pick'em standings. Okay. Let's see. Overall standings. At the top of the table, TH63 with 176 points, and just behind him, in second place, RKW with 175. It's quite close to the top, the bunch at the top. I mean, it's going to be difficult to catch him with just 8 games left. RKW, Plumber Aid in third place, Mike 1 and Colin Micah. Eat Yourself Fit, TDA, Woody, Gloss Blue, D-Ballers. D-Ballers, he's an interesting one. He plays Pick'em every week, but we don't hear much about him. Alright, so that's the Pick'em. Oh yeah, remember I've had to add an extra 3 games to this week. They rescheduled games because of the Cup, so make sure you made your picks there. Let's have a look at the midweek. Guess the attendance. Oh, yeah, remember, I've had to add an extra 3 games to this week. They rescheduled games because of the Cup, so make sure we guess the attendance. Let's have a look at the midweek. Guess the attendance. Lawmore won this week, the midweek guess the attendance. He was only 15 away, got himself 14 points, but I am still top. Let me. Lawmore won this week. Too kind. Followed sharply by Miss Steve R. That's a terrible reaction. Barry Shitfield, TV, Dr. Lecter, Alpha Normal. Okay, let's have a quick look at the normal guess your attendance. Malarkey won this week. And that, of course, is Ho Ho Ho, top of the league by quite some distance. He'll take some catching. Lecter and Mrs. R, familiar names at the tops of tables, and that of course is okay. So that and also a big salute to TDA for doing his guessing attendance. Fred, it looks like a ton of arsake, but he's doing sterling work as always. Let me just check in on the podcast. Are you broadcasting from a cave? Echo alert. Can I listen on catch up? What are they saying in the YouTube? Yeah, a bit of an echo. I gave up on Pick'em after a 3-week cruise. I wonder who that could be. Ho 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 is a staff member. Huh? Yeah, a bit of an echo. No, he isn't. Oh, right, they're accusing one of the staff of being Ho Ho Ho. Right, well, I don't know who it is, but it is me, because I'm not that good at it. Okay, let's see. Pick'em standings. Let's have a look who's the current Prince of Darkness. Where's the pod thread? The official pod thread. Pick'em standings. Let's see, who was the last post? Stanty's Tattoos is a current Prince of Darkness. You'll have a hard time getting that title off of him, because he posts a lot at night. So Nid-Dave's got his work cut out. Nid-Dave did explain this, the rules of this game to me a few times, so I'm still not 100% on it, even though I did actually win it for a day once, somehow.
The only one, Cardiff City Podcast, with Colonel Cardiffy. Only one, Cardiff City man, the Colonel. I like football, I ride in my bike.
Alright, it's time for a song that I wrote, that some of you might recognise as the theme of a thread that was on the forum a week or 2 ago. So, enjoy this.
Remote control and missing his back. A furry ball of blue tack. Drawing pins, batteries, rubber bands, Allen keys. A single chopstick, a dried up chapstick, an old phone charger, a magic marker, coaster, a lint roller, a manual for a 4-slice toaster. It's the third drawer down in the kitchen. Roller coaster, a lint roller.
Oh, you're too kind. Okay, we were gonna have the second instalment of the Cardiff City Master quiz tonight, but we're just gonna have a general knowledge quiz this week instead, so I can ease myself into the world of live podcasting, which, as it turns out, is an absolute minefield that can go wrong at any second in any manner of horrific ways. Plus, then next week, Arthur Europe, who is out of the country this week, can come on and defend his title properly. So Cardiff City Master returns next week due to Arthur Europe being incontinent. Last week we had some minor complaints about the questions I'd set for the quiz, and just to let you know the correct procedure for future complaints, just write them down on a nice clean sheet of A4 and push the paper up your bum with the end of a broom handle. On the general knowledge quiz tonight, we'll have Gloss Blue and Woody going head to head on the phone, so I'm going to bring Gloss Blue first. In the meantime, have a listen to these two lads. Let's get this open. You might have seen these lads before if you hang around under the stands at the Cardiff City Stadium. I'm going to post a couple of videos of theirs. You might have seen these lads before if you hang around under the stands in the podcast thread. These lads, Bowen and Moore, they've released a song called From the Valleys to the Bay. So let's have a little listen to this for a sec. These lads, Bowen and Moore, they've released a song called From the Valleys to the Bay. So let's have a little listen to this for a sec.
You know your fate, you know the score. You're not fazed by it anymore. You don't need to speed and go. So don't forget where you're coming from. People say this place is strange. But where I'm from will never change. You need to leave before you die. And if you don't know how, then don't ask why. 'Cause life gets better every day. From the valley, from the valley to the bay. You know your fate, you know the score. You're not fazed by it anymore. You don't need to speed and go. So don't forget where you're coming from. People say this place is strange. But where I'm from will never change. You need to live before you die. And if you don't know how, then don't ask why. 'Cause life gets better every day. From the valley, from the valley to the bay.
Okay, you can get a full version of that on Spotify and iTunes. I've just put the links in the podcast thread. I've also muted the YouTube video that was, I think, I couldn't hear it, but a lot of people were saying there was an echo, and that might have been because I've got the podcast live on one screen. So, I mean, if the sound has improved, say so, either in the chat or in the podcast thread. I'm about to... Echo has stopped now. Good. Okay, that's good. Yep, Mrs. R says yep. Awesome. All right, just in time for the quiz. I haven't run Gloss Blue yet because during that song I realised there wasn't a way to do it without interrupting the song. I told you I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, so I'm just going to ring him now. Okay.
Gloss Blues, Turkey speaking.
What's up? How's it going? You all right?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm very well. Can you hear me all right? Is my first question.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, yeah.
Oh, excellent. And a round of applause for you. Can you hear the round of applause?
I can, yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, welcome back onto the podcast, mate. You've been dispatching turkeys all week, is it?
I have, no, I've been sending them over the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh, is that different to dispatching?
Yeah, we sort of love them to death.
Oh, no.
Can't kill them. It's Steve Earle, get her ass out.
Oh, what a way to live. Now, following on from the last time you were on for the quiz, and completely out of the blue, you felt compelled to begin boasting about how you'd easily beat both Graham Souness and Roy Keane in a bare-knuckle fight. I can't remember what prompted that outburst, to be honest, but this time round I've got a Brexit edition of that same thing, so I'd like you to imagine this scenario. One dark night, you're walking through Parliament Square, and just as you get to the statue of Millicent Fawcett campaigning for women's suffrage, you see Boris Johnson emerge from the shadows. And this doesn't bother you at first, of course, but you notice he's got brass knuckles and a grin on his face. Then, from behind him steps Jacob Rees-Mogg, and he's got nunchucks. Now, presumably you turn and run, don't you?
No, I don't think so. If Jason Rees-Mogg is behind Boris Johnson, because he's slipping him a length, so I'll just stand there and wait to shag him to death, and then I'll just come in and throat punch Rees-Mogg and all forward.
Is the right answer. I mean, that is what they're all up to in Parliament. They're all just banging each other in Parliament Square. You've won the quiz. Congratulations! I'll make you a banner. No, of course not. It's time to get Woody on the blower. Hang on, this would be interesting having two people on at once. Let's see, more options.
I've got a bit of Woody as we speak.
It's all filth. It's blue tonight. It's blue. Let me go. Dial pad. Okay, here we go. We're ringing Woody. Is he ringing?
Welcome to 1572.
Oh,
The person you've called has
mate.
chosen not to receive certain calls. A message can be
Woody.
left after
I
the
win on
tone.
default then.
Woody! Right, now I've left in that message. With a bit of luck, you'll be listening to that, and I don't know, he's got some sort of setting, I think, that doesn't allow Skype phone calls. Oh, God, what to do? Let's see. Because he's supposed to be on to talk about the Salah situation with Daya as well, so we've got to get that sorted. Woody, if you're listening, PM me either. Here we go. Give us a ring, Colonel, if you need backup. Oh, I cut off... Oh, God, I cut off Gloss Blue. This is marvellous, isn't it? Oh, of course I did. I pressed the hang-up button. Right. Let me ring Gloss Blue. Technical difficulties. Right, I'm going to ring Nugent and then try and sort out the problem with Woody. Woody, if you could PM me another number, maybe, or...
You answer phone.
Oh, what a wind-up. Right, I'm looking for Nugent's number. I've got it on one of these. Ah, here it is. Okay, I'm going to ring Nugent now. Okay, you're going up against Nugent instead.
What happened to Woody?
Woody, in the ultimate betrayal, has left us right in the lurch. No, he's summing up with his phone that won't let him take Skype phone calls. He probably doesn't even know about it. But we're going to ring Nugent now anyway, and let's see how we get on with this now.
Hello.
Huge, what's up? Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to give you a round of applause. Tell me if you can hear it.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and Glass Blue, if you could fart into the microphone. There you go. Can you hear that? Yep, you can hear that. Lovely. Awesome stuff. All right, well, Nuge, you're going to be taking a general knowledge quiz, and you're going to be going head-to-head with Glass Blue. Are you all right with that?
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
As long as there's no questions, as long as there's no questions on turkeys.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that as well.
he's fucking sick of them.
I know fuck all about them. I'm actually fuck.
He knows how to kill him. He knows how to kill him and have sex with him afterwards. Okay. All right. Now at Cardiff
You've been
City.
watching me, haven't you?
Yes. Well, you do broadcast it live, so I can't help it. Anyway, at Cardiff City Football Club, we are blessed to have two of the most handsome footballers in all of Europe, in Bennett and Camarasa. So basically, what I want to know, Gloss, is if you had to, which one would you make sweet, sweet love to?
Giving or taking?
Either way, mate. Either way.
If it's giving, Camarasa. If it's taking, I reckon Bent's is smaller, so actually I'd have Nuges, because that's tiny. Wouldn't touch the sides.
Well, I tell you what then, Nuge. I mean, you've got the option of either as well. So, I mean, would you describe where you'll be taking the lads on your first date? And bear in mind that you'll be covering any expenses, what with it being a first date and all, and you being a proper gent.
Take them down the island, I suppose. Now Marco's Cafe for a cup of tea. Give Judge Rinder a ring, because he's on my speed dial. He can come and watch.
Oh, hang on.
And I'd rummage through sex jacket pockets. Spare money in it.
I was just going to say, I posted a picture of sex jacket on the forum now, looking, well, I am slightly distracted by the lady to his right, but he himself is a striking man in that red jacket. There you go. Woody's PM me his mobile number, so I'll be able to contact him after this. Nugent has jumped straight into your grave, though, there, Woody, I'm afraid, so you're going to have to tune in for the next quiz. Okay, let me have a look here. Okay, Okay, for the quiz. There are 10 questions. They increase in difficulty, and you get more points for correct answers as we go. Do you know what? That's the instructions for the last quiz, because this quiz doesn't run like that. I do have a jingle though, so.
General knowledge.
Okay, we have 10 general knowledge questions. You say your own username to buzz in and answer. If you buzz in and hesitate to answer or get the question wrong, you lose a point. But if you answer correctly, you gain a point. Yeah, right. Before I launch into the questions, I'm going to play the General Knowledge Master quiz jingle again, so it's a good opportunity to clear your throat, get a sip of water, and visit Cricket St Thomas near Chard.
General knowledge.
Okay, gentlemen, say your own username to buzz in and answer. Question 1. In which sport can you be penalised for travelling?
Nugent.
Just blue.
Nugent?
I
Basketball.
was first.
Right.
I was first.
Right, I'm discovering it might be a problem if you've got a delay on your line like Gloss Blue might have. You might be at a distinct disadvantage in this quiz, I'm realising now. But we'll plough on regardless, despite how unfair it is. Okay, that's a point for Nugent there. So on to question 2. Which country's capital is Bogota?
Nugent.
Go on, Nuge.
Colombia.
Colombia is correct. Okay, question 3. Roger Waters and David Gilmour were members of which rock band?
Cross Blue.
Gloss Blue.
Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd is correct. Okay, on to question 4. In what year did the wearing of car seatbelts become compulsory in Britain?
Cross Blue.
Nugent.
Gloss Blue, I heard first.
76.
No, that's incorrect. Do you want to have a stab, Nuge?
82.
Oh, no, it was 1983. Okay.
Oh, do I get a t-shirt for a year out?
No. I can send you a pair of my underpants. Question 5. Who wrote the book A Brief History of Time?
Cross Blue.
Nugent, go ahead.
I was
Stephen
miles
Hawking.
ahead of him.
Right. I'm just going by what I can hear. We're gonna have to work out a different system, clearly, but yeah, I'm just going by what I can hear. But I heard Nugent first, and what was your answer?
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking is correct. Okay, question 6. What is the national emblem of New Zealand?
Cross Blue.
Gloss Blue.
It's the fern.
Is Kiwi.
I thought that was the animal, the national animal. The emblem. It's fern, I'm sure.
Well, the website that I copied these questions off will we'll have to send complaints in their direction.
Yeah.
Okay, question
I'm writing
7.
already about this below.
Question 7. Who had his ear bitten off by Mike Tyson?
Cross Blue.
Nugent.
Gloss Blue.
Evander Holyfield.
It was indeed. Okay, question 8. Name the author who wrote the Harry Potter series of books.
Nugent.
Cross Blue.
Nugent.
J.K. Rowling.
It is indeed. Okay, question 9. What is the capital of Canada?
Cross Blue.
Nugent.
Gloss Blue.
Capital of Canada is Ontario.
No, it's Ottawa.
Oh, give me pass it
bollocks.
over. Pass it over.
You didn't get pass it over. You get a 5-second head start on me.
And he's won it anyway. There's only one question left. Question 10. Which car is featured in the film Back to the Future?
Nugent.
Cross Blue.
Nugent.
DeLorean.
It is a DeLorean. And that's the end of the quiz. Nugent wins 5 points to -1.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Gloss Blue, that was mightily unfair on you. We are gonna have to work something else out because, yeah, I didn't take into account the delay
Next
for
time, try
something.
2 yogurt pots and a piece of string and make it bit more reliable.
Yeah, no, it's true. This is ridiculous. A Morse code would be better than this, frankly.
Probably 2 separate phone calls, like on Podmaster, with different questions. You could question set A and question set B.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
contestant gets to choose.
I suppose so. Yeah, that's true. You could. I mean, you'd still be going head to head, but they would be different questions. But I suppose it doesn't matter at the end of the day. They say, no, you're quite right. I shall have to.
I was miles
sort
ahead
out.
of Gloss Blue. I don't know what he's complaining about.
That's a fix.
I'd say my name and then 3 seconds later.
And for me, I can hear you 3 seconds later.
I blame the channel.
Just reading through some of the comments on there. Right, okay, don't worry about that. Alright, well, I mean, commiserations, Gloss Blue, and well done, Nugent. Well, thanks both.
Nugent's finest hour.
Thanks both for calling in. Honestly, it's a genuine pleasure, and I shall definitely speak to you both again. I am going to have to get you off the line to get Woody and Daya on, but I'll comment in the thread, and I'll speak to you again soon, guys, okay?
All right, good night.
Nice one. Cheers, guys. Ta-ra. Okay. In the news this week, Cardiff City said they plan to tell FIFA that the deal to buy Emiliano Sala became null and void after the player died. It's caused a lot of controversy this week. Some have accused the club of being dishonourable in their dealings, whilst others point to all the irregularities surrounding the signing of the player. I've got to get... Alright. I can't look at that, so I'm just going to... Right. I'm just going to play a jingle while I get Woody's number, because I can't open it in my PM, so give me a second, alright?
You know your fate, you know the score. You're not fazed by it anymore. You don't need to speed and go. So don't forget where you're coming from. People say this place is strange. But where you're from never changed. You need to leave.
Hello.
Hiya, Woody, is that you, mate?
It is indeed. How you doing?
Yes, I'm very well. How are you? Can you hear me alright?
Yeah, I can
Excellent.
hear you perfectly. Yeah, apologies
Oh.
for earlier.
That's no problem. I bet you didn't even know.
No, I did. I was sitting and listening to the podcast. So I heard my BT message coming through via my laptop.
Ah, right. Oh, God, that's weird, eh? Alright, let's see. Did you hear that shambles of a quiz just there?
I thought, it was. I thought it was excellent. I think I'd have been in with a chance. To be fair, had you got through. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, very, very good, mate.
No, you would have been in with a chance because it doesn't sound like you've got any delay on your phone at all. So you might have been in quicker than Nugent. Apparently, that's what it takes. Right, I'm just going to give Daya a call now. I hope he answers. Okay. Add the call. Right. Right, I'm just going to play a jingle again while I get this sorted. Hang on.
You know your fate, you know the score. You're not fazed by it anymore. You don't need to speed and go. So don't
Right, so Woody on the line. Oh, hi, is that Daya? Hello, can you hear me, mate?
Speaking.
Ah, brilliant. You can hear me all right, can you?
Who's that, Colonel?
It is the Colonel Cardiff. Are you all right?
All right, son. Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad.
Oh, good, good. I can hear you just fine. You can hear me okay, can you?
Yeah, clear as a bell, mate.
Oh, that's excellent. Woody, do you want to say hello to Daya just to make sure you can hear each other?
Hello, Daya. How you doing?
Hello, Woody. You're the bloke who called me a cockney wanker, isn't you, on the message?
Guilty. He is a cartoon character, though, to be fair.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a character, all
I'll
right.
take
Yeah.
it all in good fun, son. All in good fun. Don't worry, mate.
Well, as I said just now, Cardiff City said they plan to tell FIFA that the deal to buy Emiliano Sala became null and void after the player died. It's caused a lot of controversy this week. Some have accused the club of being dishonourable in their dealings, whilst others point to all of the irregularities surrounding the signing of the player. Thanks for joining us, Daya. Obviously, you're live on the podcast now, and I mean, you've not shied away from making your feelings on the topic known on the forum and on the OOCC Facebook page this week. The club are entitled to take a second look at this whole situation, aren't they, mate?
Say that one again, Colonel. You broke off a bit there, mate.
Sorry, I was just saying the club are surely entitled to take a second look at this whole situation, aren't they?
Oh, I think when there's 15 million... Oh, sorry, mate. Was that me or was it echoing? 15 million, 30 million quid or whatever at stake. Everyone's welcome to, or entitled to take a second look at it, to be fair, especially after how it's all played out from if you go back to day one when it all sort of took place, you know. But I think the thing that gets me is that they made such a big thing about. Remember, I see it from a non-Cardiff City fan point of view, right?
Yeah.
Because I left that a long time ago, right? But what gets me is the way they made it out all to be, he's our player, let's have a big memorial, flowers out, all the trimmings, all the tears, all the emotion, he's our player, blah, blah, blah. And then, 4 weeks later, hang on a minute. No, he wasn't our player, they're not paying.
Yeah.
I think it's more the fact that the fans get led down a path. Now that board would have known, right, pretty soon. Well, I know they knew, right? But without going into that board knew that player, or they were going to contest that player, wasn't theirs within 72 hours of the whole event happening, right? Now, okay, fair enough. If you're going to contest it, right? That ain't a problem. But don't go telling the football fans and letting them build all the flags, the Salah songs, he's forever a bluebird, and all the big banners. You say, hang on, lads. 2 seconds, you might have a technical hitch here, right? He might not be our player. Have a minute's silence, by all means, like the other 92 and 91 football clubs. But leave it at that. Don't milk it. Do you know what I mean? And they milked it. Right? Very tragic, obviously very tragic, all the rest of it, but they milked it for a couple of weeks. Sky News, all the stuff, all the trimmings, and then 2 weeks after that, again, he's not our player, we ain't paying.
Right, so, I mean, do you think they should? Should they be paying?
Do I think they should pay?
Yeah.
I think personally I do. I think they have to pay in the end, is my personal opinion.
Right.
I believe the reason they're ducking it, or trying to dodge out of it, is because they didn't have enough insurance in place. Right now, if they weren't going to duck out of it, they would have first said, right, if you think back, what was the first thing they went for? Letters to other football clubs, including West Ham, right, asking did they pay too much money for the transfer. Yeah, I think they did pay too much money for the player, but they'd already done the deal. So they were looking for angles. Why not the pay? Yeah. Now, what you only look for angles if you can't pay, or obviously you can pay, but if you know what I mean, you get my point of it. So they're looking for a reason to get out of it. They're not just putting their hands up saying he's not our player or he is our player. They are looking for angles to get out of not paying, and the reason being they're trying to get out of it is because he didn't insure him properly.
Woody, what are your feelings on that? Do you agree with Dare?
Well, I think Daya makes some good points there, to be fair. But insurance does seem to be the biggest hurdle here. From what obviously I'm no expert, but from what I've read, in the media and on the forums and everything else, it's pretty clear that ultimately the people who are wielding the money side of this are going to be the insurance companies. And clearly, Cardiff City have an obligation to mitigate their losses to their an obligation to their insurance company to mitigate their losses. So, they can't just decide to, in order to appease people on the internet or in order to, look like they're doing the right thing, that they're going to come up with a 15 million quid and then expect the insurance company to back them. Because if they've, effectively backed their insurers into a corner and it turns out that contractually, for, whatever reason, and there seem to be half a dozen different reasons why he might not ultimately, use the letter of the law, be a Cardiff City player, if we're not liable, then, City are going to end up writing off 15 million quid and not claiming it from their insurance company. So, it's a very, very delicate situation, I think. I mean, clearly, we've all been learning about this stuff as it, as it's come out. I don't agree with Daya when he says that the club milked it at all. I mean, I don't think they did really a great deal other than provide a space for the fans to leave their tributes, hold a minute's silence, and give out some little daffodils in the first game. You know, the club have been pretty low key, really. I think throughout the whole thing of you know, certainly you know, being respectful. You know, and ultimately you can you know, you've got to in this kind of situation separate the sort of human aspects from the business aspects of it. And you know, everybody's rightly upset that a guy who, you know, all other things being equal, would have been a Cardiff player, and everybody wanted to see him be a Cardiff player. You know, for tragic circumstances, wasn't. You know, and the outpouring of grief on everybody's behalf, I think, was pretty genuine. But you know, it doesn't. You know, there's, you know, sits very separately from the commercial concerns, which obviously, you know, the board of the club have got, you know, sort of, you know, a duty to do their best for.
The club weren't supposed to stop fans leaving shirts and scarves there for the memorial, were they? There.
Hello?
You still there, mate?
Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, still here, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean...
Off, what you was going on so long?
Sorry, mate, I sent you to sleep.
Nah, you're right, mate. Go on.
Yeah, well, I mean, what were the club supposed to do? I mean, the fans wanted to show their grief by setting up.
You nip it in the bud, right? You're never going to stop fans after such a tragic event going down a club and laying a couple of scarves or whatever flagged initially, are you? But what you're going to do, mate, you're going to say, well, quick public statement to your supporters, and you say, hang on a minute, lads, don't get too carried away, right? He may not have been a Cardiff City player because the contract wasn't completed properly, but we will be having a minute's silence at the ground while we look into things, or something on those lines. They didn't do that, and to say that Ken Chu and his mob didn't milk it, they were live on Sky Sports, leading up with all the staff from the offices, leading up to the memorial. He was there with all the press there, taking all the screenshot or whatever you want to say, right? So, but they let the fans into an emotional. It's a supporters I feel sorry for, right? And I'll say this for like from the outside as a neutral so-called supporter, right? Because the rest of the country are laughing at Cardiff City, right? Simply because 1 minute he's their player, even Neil Warnock in the media, right? And he can talk, can't he? Right? He's in the media, right? He was my player. He was my player. I'm off to the funeral. I'm doing this. I'm going to meet the mother. I'm going to meet the sister. Well, and all the rest of it, right? But why say all that when you know, right, that in 2 weeks' time that there's going to be different circumstances, because you then going to be saying, hang on a minute, you want our player, so we're not paying for it.
Well,
you know what I mean? And, I know someone who bumped into Ken Chu in Cardiff in an Indian restaurant on a Friday night before the memorial game, the first home game, right? Yeah. And Ken Chu comes over to him and says, "Oh, what do you think, mate? What do you know? It's bad, isn't it?" In the city. He said, "No, don't worry, Ken." He said, "The whole country loves us because look at everybody feels for us," which everybody did at the time. Everybody feels for us. And Ken Chu turns around to him and says, "They might love us now, but will they love us in 4 weeks' time?"
That's a good point.
Knew what was going to take place. Football supporters, right, get mugged off by boards.
Yeah.
And it's true, right? Whoever you support, it doesn't matter if you support Cardiff City, Swansea City, West Ham United, whoever, right? Football fans get mugged off by boards. Right? Yeah. The majority, because of your love for a club and because of your love for it's your life, isn't it? To a lot of people, yeah. You listen and believe, or say we listen and believe to whatever we're told, right? And so football fans follow. They think it's gospel. They don't see what goes on a lot of time behind the scenes, right? And we get, as football supporters, we get mugged off, right? So we get fed stuff that, and the majority will always believe it. That's unfortunate. It's the same as if you go on a message board with a different opinion. If you come on a message board with a different opinion, 80% of people slaughter you, not because they don't believe you, but because they support that football club.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
It's the same thing, and that's what's going on with the Salah thing. Right? It's a tragic thing. We all know that, but they knew at the beginning that they were going to contest that. Right? They knew within 72, well, it was less than 72 hours, but we'll say 72 hours, that they were going to contest that he was a player and that the contract, in their opinion, wasn't valid. They were also going to look out for other loopholes to get out of it. Naturally, they're going to. It's £15 million plus. It's not insured correctly. Because most players aren't insured, to be honest with you, until their first day of training. That's when they sign their insurance form.
Let me bring Woody in.
It's not Cardiff City's fault. They didn't insure him on time.
Let me just.
That would have been done.
I'm just interrupt you. Woody, I mean, he's got a point. This is making us as a club look pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal situation, whichever way you look at it. I completely agree. And, I'm sure everybody would like it to be straightforward. I'm sure if the insurance was in place, they'd have quite happily knocked the whole thing on the head weeks ago, you'd have thought, wouldn't you, really? Because none of this is making anybody look good. I think it would have looked even worse if they'd come out before they'd even found the poor bloke and started saying, well, we're not really sure he's a Cardiff player, we need to look at the small print of the contract, and I'm sure they did start looking straight away at at whether the I's have been dotted and the T's have been crossed, but I should think it took quite a long while to work that out. Obviously they still haven't worked it out, but I suppose I go back to what I said originally, was that the human side of it. Ultimately, putting all of the contractual stuff to one side, he wanted to be a City player. The Warnock wanted him as a City player. The fans, his teammates wanted him as a City player. And the fact that he didn't become one for one reason or another, and that it was very tragic, is something everybody was rightly going to be very upset about, I think, regardless of the contractual situation. So
yeah, the club couldn't come out in the first few days and just say, hey, he wasn't our player, we're not paying up. I mean, if it looks bad now, that would have been like 100 times worse.
Yeah, I think they could have. I think they could have said, look, hang on a minute, we don't think he signed for us, right? The trouble is, they just said he had signed, didn't he? We hold his shirt up and all the rest of it, right? But he should come out, hang on, plane's gone down, right, fair enough, very sad, but it looks like he hadn't signed properly, so he's not actually our player, and go from there. And then say, right, we'll have a minute's silence or whatever, which you do out of respect for anybody who's died, especially in the football family of 92 football clubs, yeah? But you don't go over the top, right? They watch fans have a collection to build a flag to say Forever the Bluebird. He's never played for the club, he's never worn the shirt. Right? Yeah, and now they're saying he hasn't even signed a contract. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's my point. And the truth is, if the insurance had been, like Woody's quite right in what he says, if the insurance had been done correctly and put in place properly before, and it was all in place, and we wouldn't be having this conversation, because, like you say, Cardiff City would have just claimed on their insurance, and it would have been the end of the situation.
Well, there you go.
In fairness,
is the insurance thing.
It's not necessarily City's fault that the insurance isn't in place, though, because the insurers will presumably be looking very, very closely at the contractual situation to see which club had the insurable interest in the player. Because if his transfer hadn't gone through, and he should still be.
When he signed the player, Woody, right? And Nantes would have signed him off, and that's what the argument would be over, because Nantes have signed him off to FIFA. So officially, he's not a Nantes player either, right? So what City should have done, Cardiff City should have, when they went to make the purchase, it got straight on the phone to the insurance firm, raised the cover of the blanket policy that's in place for 14 million, and should have raised it to 40 million, because obviously it's the first time Cardiff have signed a player of such value, to be honest with you. What was he on, 50 grand a week? I think it was a 3 or 4 year deal, yeah, and a 15 million transfer fee over 3 years. So that should have been covered in the process. Now that was down to, should we say, negligence of, in my belief, a football club not used, and no disrespect, but not used to signing players of such value.
But apparently Nantes had asked for some sort of clause in the contract that meant that certain things had to be confirmed by the 22nd of January. Otherwise, the contract is null and void, which went beyond them registering anything with FIFA. and some of that stuff,
But
you
the
know,
trouble
it
is,
seems
Woody,
to
we
be
only
that that's
have
happened.
Yeah, the only thing is, you haven't seen the contract, I haven't seen the contract. Right, we only get that through the media and from whoever feeds the media. Now, if you read one newspaper who's being fed by one party and another newspaper is fed by another party, then and that's another thing that the both football clubs should be doing, is feeding the media for their own views, which get them spread out in the media stories. Because it just then confuses the debate again, doesn't it? Because at the end of the day, you haven't seen the contract, I haven't seen the contract. We can only talk on what is on a basic contract. We don't know what the ins and outs are in there, do we? But that's the problem.
Yeah, well,
is that both clubs in their argument are feeding the media, so then the media report what they report is in a contract. Do you get me drift?
Yeah. All right, lads.
Yeah,
no, go on, Woody. Go on, respond to that. Say again, Woody.
So I was just saying, it just underlines what a mess it all is, and I suppose, you know, further, hopefully serves to make us understand why, you know, Cardiff, just as any other business, isn't going to write off 15 million quid, you know, until, you know, until everything has become a lot more clear.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something we can. Yeah, we can all.
Money off. Vincent Town writes a lot of money off and other things, doesn't he? He's written off enough debt in the past, mate. You know, with 15 million.
He's converting it to equity, isn't he? So clearly, when City are worth billions, he'll get his money back.
Well, we can all hope for that. Well, all right, lads. That's thanks for calling in, both of you. Oh, thanks for letting me call you, rather.
Yeah, no
Pleasure.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. Thanks to both of you. And one thing we can all agree on is it's all a terrible mess, and just the heart goes out to the families of Emiliano Sala and pilot Dave Ibbotson, and hopefully this can all be brought to a conclusion at some point soon. But thanks both to you for coming on, and hopefully I'll speak to you both again soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Cheers,
Right, thanks.
Yeah, cheers, Dave. See you later.
Bye.
All right, there. That was quite an interesting chat there. Just to wrap things up now, we'll have a quick look at the table. Let's see where we are. Premier League table. As you can see, we are just inside the relegation zone. We can catch Burnley, Southampton on 30 points as well. Beginning to suspect teams above Burnley and Southampton might be a little bit beyond this. Fulham and Huddersfield, I don't think. I think they're resigned to their fate at this point. I mean, look at that. Loss. That's a £100 million side there. Terrible work. Alright, a quick look towards Sunday. Patterson out, I think, for the season after damaging knee ligaments. He's due for an operation on Monday. Bamba's out for the season, we know that. Matt Connolly was coming back in training, apparently dislocated his ankle. So a string of injury concerns at the worst possible time for Cardiff. Hope Camarasa, a.k.a. Rioja Sex Jacket, is fit to play. I've heard he is. We're at home to Chelsea this weekend. I confidently predict a win for our lads by at least 6 goals. 2:05 kickoff Sunday. Don't forget the clocks go forward this weekend, 1 AM Sunday the 31st. Might be for the last time if the EU have its way. They're voting on whether or not to scrap the whole summertime, wintertime thing. Does this enrage you? Don't phone in. You don't have my number. Well, it's been a hell of a first podcast. What a roller coaster ride. Thanks to Glassblue, Woody, Nugent and Dare. Keep an eye on the forum for when we're on next. And remember, sometimes the sun comes down in June. Sometimes the snow comes down in June, and sometimes the sun goes round the moon. Not really, though. That would be mental. Okay, thanks for listening.
He's the Colonel Cardiff. I'm the only one Cardiff City podcast.